Right. Hello my dear students, I'm Tulio Miranda and here we are for our third video on IELTS reading question resolution, and today we're going to deal with short answer questions, and let's take a look at how the questions look like. So here we are again on this Cambridge IELTS 10. We're dealing with this question 6 to 8 on the reading passage 1, and as you can see, you should give only one word as an answer. You know that many times it could be 2 words and or a number, 3 words and or a number. And as you can see, the questions are objective. They suggest no alternatives for an answer. You gotta provide the answer. Which part of some step wells provided shade for people? Okay, what type of serious climatic event which took place in southern Rajasthan is mentioned in the article, or who are frequent visitors to step wells nowadays? So basically you have to read the text, get the answer and put it here. Of course, you cannot expect that the answer will appear in the text using the same words from the question, right? So when it's talking about a part of step wells that provided shade for people, the key parts, the key terms in this question are providing shade, but probably the expression equivalent to providing shade to people will be written in a different way. It will be a paraphrasis. It will use synonyms in the text. So your vocabulary will be tested in this moment in every question here. Okay, so since we know this is the passage we're going to use, okay, we have used this passage for the first video we've done together, and let's check the steps we should follow in order to proceed. I also have some other instructions to provide with these with the steps. Alright, so knowing what the question wants from us, we should read the question and memorize the keywords, okay? So providing shade for people are the key words in the question. So before we start our search in the text for the information, this note is very important. The thing is, we should eliminate any parts of the text that may assume, that you may assume not to have the information you need. The idea is, in the first video, we answered this question here, and basically the answers for this question were concentrated in this paragraph, this one, and these other 2 paragraphs. So from this paragraph to this paragraph here, basically all the information is related to specific emblematic step wells in India. And this kind of question probably is dealing with generic information related to step wells. So once I'm looking, maybe this last paragraph is also dealing with other generic information related to step wells. The idea is, when I'm looking for the information, I'm not going to prioritize these paragraphs. If I come to this paragraph here from the first page, skim reading the first page, when I get here, I will skip these paragraphs and jump directly into this one. In case I don't find any vital, any useful information, I will read the other ones. But I'm eliminating these paragraphs of my search pool in order to save time. Okay, so if you have the chance to eliminate paragraphs, do it, okay? Or to not prioritize them, especially because this kind of question, if you have watched the first video, this kind of question is not the kind of question you're going to start answering. As you have chosen to start answering the questions for this text using this set of questions that's much simpler, you will, when you get to a question like this, short answer questions, you already have had some kind of contact with your text, so you can eliminate these parts that you have already used, because probably the information would not be clustered, would not be concentrated in a single part of the text. That would be too obvious if the test editors had put all the information together that you need for the questions in one single part of the text. So they will certainly expect, you should certainly expect, that the information is spread all over the text. And using basic logics, I will not use that part of the text. And you will see that the things make some sense as we proceed. So our second step is start skim reading the text, looking for the words or for words that will match the ones in the question. So you can isolate a sentence where the answer is. So maybe you can, as you skim read, you can identify a sentence that looks like, okay, maybe the answer is here. And once you isolate the sentence, you can use some deep reading. Okay, in case you need, you use some deep reading in the sentence isolated, or you deep read the sentence isolated as it is here. Sometimes you don't even need to perform any deep reading. All right, the sentence, the moment you spot it, it will be very explicit. You just need to paraphrase or synthesize the information to fit the rule, 1 word or 2 words, etc. But maybe for many students, the idea of skim reading is not clear. And this note here, it's inverted, note 2 here and note 1 here, but that's okay. The idea is, skim reading seems not to be clear to some students how to perform it, although they understand that it's a little superficial. Well, most of people read in 2 different ways. We can read silently, just moving the eyes over the words, the sentences, and you can read aloud to yourself, okay, pronouncing the words aloud. All right, reading aloud is always slow, but it's very effective because it helps people with concentration issues to concentrate at the text, especially if you're in a noisy environment. Reading aloud will help you focus on the text. For example, if you have a difficult text and you need more concentration and more attention, reading something aloud to yourself will help you focus and understand. But it is slow, that's the problem. There is research which indicates that reading aloud is a lot slower. So, for example, students in academic life, they should master the process of reading silently because it's a lot faster. So you could say that skim reading is totally silent, but you could say that deep reading is a little, it's done aloud, okay? It doesn't have to be, but if you do it aloud, you will certainly reach what's deep reading. Okay, but if you are in a test room, you're going to take IELTS test, and you are in a room with many other students, you cannot read aloud. So what you do, you can whisper the words to yourself. You read and pronounce the words silently to yourself, whispering, okay? So skim reading should be the mix between the 2 things, a silent and a loud reading. So I suggest you do this. I suggest you doing this, that you should read silently and whisper the important words to yourself. It's kind of half of both words, together in one thing. So knowing this, let's follow to the process of finding the answer for our question, okay? We're going to start from the beginning, and we're going to look for anything that suggests the step well or part of a step well providing shade to visitors or to people who users of step wells, right? Developed method of gaining access to clean, fresh groundwater, watering animals, irrigation, step well beyond utilitarian application, unique to the region, complex shape. People gathered for leisure, relaxation, and worshippers, lowest classes, around the deserts of Gujarat, Delhi. Some were located near villages, public spaces, positioned beside roads, comprise a series of stone steps descending from ground level to a water source. And a few steps, several levels would have to be negotiated. Sloping sides, long steeped passages, several stories, supported by pillars. Okay, so pavilions that sheltered visitors from relentless heat. This one is a very good example of vocabulary challenge, because the word shade or any synonym for shade is not used in this part. You get sheltered visitors from relentless heat. Relentless is something that never gets tired, that never loses its strength, okay? And heat is what you avoid when you look for shade. If someone has a heat stroke, you should take the person to the shade. Is one of the basic things you should do. And that's exactly what these people are looking for. The pavilions of the stepwells provided shade for the people. So the answer to your question is shades. Okay? Let's actually, it's not shade, it's pavilions, all right? So let's okay, we got some lag here. All right, and then here we are to write the first answer. Let's put it here. If the machine helps us doing it. Come on. Okay. Pavilions. Okay. The pavilions are the answer to question 6. All right. We got this. Yes, we got just one L there. Yes, let's correct it. Okay, no, let's correct it. And just zoom up here. Yeah, zoom in. Okay, we got pavilions, and okay, so we should follow and look for the answer for the next question. I mean, question 7 is, what type of serious climatic event which took place in southern Rajasthan is mentioned in the article? So we're looking for some climatic event. Okay, we're looking for this, a climatic event in southern Rajasthan. These are the keywords that we have to deal with in order to find the answer. So we go back to where we stopped, and then we look for the answer. Okay, so embellish activities. Down the centuries, thousands of wells in India majority have fallen into disuse. Many are derelict and dry. Groundwater industrial no longer reach the water table. Air condition. Opa. Southern Rajasthan is here. The key word southern Rajasthan is here. Suffered a 8-year drought. Okay, so drought is a climatic event when there is no rain in the region. It's called a drought. Here in Brazil, in the northeast of Brazil, we suffer a lot with this. So we don't need any other thinking to know that the answer to our question is exactly a drought. Okay, so this is the answer for question 7. And who are frequent visitors to Stepwell nowadays? So we have nowadays, and visitors. These are the keywords we're going to work with. And as I've mentioned in the beginning of the video, I'm going to skip some of the paragraphs in here. I can read this paragraph here. Yeah, we got nothing related to visitors here. And I'm going to skip these paragraphs in here, and I'm going to start just reading the last paragraph to find something. Today is already the keyword for nowadays. Okay, archaeological survey in India, which recognize the importance of preserving them as a part of the country. Tourist flocks to the wells in far-flung corners of Western India to gaze in wonder at these architectural marvels. So, tourists flock to the wells. Okay, so the visitors that are frequent to the step wells nowadays are the tourists. Okay, and this is the answer to question 8. So this is how you should perform. If this kind of question required from you 2 or 3 words as an answer, maybe you would have the challenge of doing it as well, because you would have to synthesize, you would have to reduce the answer from a sentence into a shorter version of the sentence. All right, so maybe you would like to write the long version of your sentence, and then you would try to reduce it into a shorter version that fit the rules. In this case, we're dealing with 1 word only, and it was not so difficult to decide which word we would use in here. So I hope that this video has helped you understanding how to answer this kind of question. If you have any questions, you can comment on the video. You can try to message me directly via Facebook or YouTube. And well, we see next time in the next video. And God bless you all, my friends.